Hey folks, this is Zach, FoodMovieGames, one half of FoodMovieGames. This is kind of a weird video to be making because our first standardized video isn't out yet for a few reasons. We're trying to catalog them and whatnot before we start actually uploading. But the trailer for No Time to Die just came out today. And I normally I've actually never watched a reaction trailer video, I don't think, in my life, so I'm not going to call this a reaction trailer video, because that suggests I'm going to be like, whoa, and all this. I'm not going to be like, whoa, and all this. I'm going to, watch it pretty normally. I've actually already seen this once. I was half paying attention to it, but since James Bond is probably my favorite long-running franchise, 15-plus year franchise, I felt that maybe my opinions would be a little helpful in this case. Again, it's weird because it's probably going to be the first video on this channel, and it is not the standard content of what this channel does. But either way, I thought I wanted to do this because I thought maybe my opinions might mean something. They might not, but either way, let's. I don't know if you've seen it, but if you haven't, spoilers for the trailer. Not that that means anything. But I am probably also going to discuss what I do know about the movie, which isn't much. So let's just watch it and think about it here.
Why would I betray you?
We all have our secrets.
So I'm going to do a lot of pausing. For anybody who didn't see Spectre or any of these movies in general, obviously Daniel Craig is Bond. This is supposed to be his last movie. Probably will be his actual last movie at this point. And the girl next to him, this lovely lady here, was in Spectre. She is, spoilers for Spectre, minor spoilers for Spectre, she is the daughter of, I can't remember his name, but she is the daughter of a bad guy, essentially, who's, again, spoilers for Spectre, but you should have seen it, is dead at this point. But she is the daughter, and he kind of fell for her and kind of ran away with her at the end of Spectre, and, they're kind of a thing at this point, which isn't good for a Bond girl, especially a Daniel Craig Bond girl, which don't last. They never last. So, it's probably not a bad guess to assume that she might die in this. She might not, but yeah, probably not going to be a good turnout for her. On another note, like I said, I couldn't remember the one guy's name. I'm not going to remember a lot of these people's names. I remember the faces. I remember what they do. I don't remember their names. I'm not going to bother with names if I recognize a person. That's just for me personally. So you're going to hear that a lot.
Betray you.
We all have our secrets. You just didn't get to yours yet.
Good jump off a bridge kind of scene. This is really interesting here. Universal. So this will be the first, I believe, ever movie, James Bond movie, the Universal's distributed. It's because Columbia lost basically their exclusivity contract with James Bond, which would be interesting because that, to me, gives a breath of hope for this movie. Because traditionally when a studio picks up a movie, especially one that's done well in the past, especially monetarily, they're going to put a lot of oomph behind it because they want to make that money. They want to really prove that they're bringing worth to it, so they can bring people to keep watching it. That's the same thing that people thought with Disney. Obviously, Disney hasn't necessarily done a great job with some of them, but it's the same idea. When a company picks up the rights to a movie and starts making their own, they do traditionally put a little more work behind it. And in addition to that, for anybody who doesn't know, the director of this movie, whose name I don't remember, was the director of Beast of No Nation, which is a great movie. Beast of No Nation's fantastic, and that also kind of breathes a little breath of hope, I guess. Before him, it was actually Danny Boyle attached, who isn't involved anymore, but that's interesting. That's very interesting. I mean, I would assume the script's pretty all right then, at that point.
The world is arming faster than we can respond. Where's 007?
I need a favor, brother. You're the only one I trust for this.
So, two more characters we saw there. We saw, I don't remember his name, the M replacement, whose name I can't remember right now, who's obviously in need of 007, as well as this gentleman who worked for the, I believe, CIA in Casino Royale, who is a friend of Bond's, or at least trusts Bond, and Bond trusts him pretty equally because of their relationship with Casino Royale. The only thing I know story-wise, I didn't look up any leaked scripts or anything. All I know story-wise is that basically this gentleman here basically asks for James Bond to come out of retirement, essentially, which he's essentially retired like twice now, really, to come out of retirement to help him find a scientist that would help with something sciencey. I don't know what. I didn't look into it that far. I just wanted to be able to give you a general idea of why he's here. So, yeah.
The world's moved on, Commander Bond.
You were 00?
2 years. So stay in your lane. You get in my way. I
So we got
want
a
to bullet in your knee.
We have a different 00 agent here, female 00 agent. I think, so I keep hearing this talk about, I haven't bothered looking into it myself, I kept hearing about this talk that they found the replacement, James Bond, and it was going to be a woman. It wouldn't surprise me if all that talk I've been hearing is relating to this woman being a 00 agent. I'll take a wild guess. It's probably a safe bet. If I was a betting man, I would say the next Bond is not going to be a woman. And that won't be the case for a very long time. So we had much better luck with the idea that it would be, what's his name? The gentleman from Hobbs and Shaw, whose name I'm hoping to figure out before I have to Google it. Let's Google it. Idris Elba. Speaking of Beasts and No Nations. We have a much better chance of Idris Elba being Bond than a woman. It just won't happen. I can see why people assume it might, and that they're going to kill off Bond or replace him in this movie. I don't see that happening. I don't think they're going to kill Bond, period. But if they did, I don't expect a successor to be in the movie. It would be way too big a bet on the next movie. And the way female-led movies have been going recently hasn't been great for the most part. So if I was them, I would not have to sign any contracts yet with the end of this movie for next one. But yeah, there's a 00 agent. That's pretty cool. Hopefully she's cool.
The one that works.
I thought you two would get along.
Moneypenny.
Bond. James Bond.
So you're not dead.
Hello, Q. I've missed you.
So obviously Bond's been away for a bit of time.
If you feel yourself losing control,
Because obviously he said he's missed Q, so obviously he has been away for a bit. He probably is retired then. Moneypenny equally waiting for him. And very briefly here we're seeing Blofeld played by oh, of course his name's not on the top here. Christoph Waltz, who in Spectre becomes Blofeld. You don't really know he is Blofeld until it happens. And also, more spoilers for Spectre here, is Daniel Craig, James Bond's stepbrother, which is really stupid. Spectre in general was kind of stupid. I'm expecting this movie to be better than Spectre. As somebody who loves Casino Royale, thought Skyfall was great. Quantum of Solace kind of isn't great. In fact, I'd maybe say Spectre is better than Quantum of Solace. Blofeld was pretty poorly executed. And I would say this movie has the opportunity to do right by him, but
Lose.
I don't know. Since Rami Malek, I know, is the main villain in this, I kind of don't expect them to fix it very much. So.
Control. James, you gave up everything for her.
There's that Blofeld and the woman he left his agent
When
life
our
behind
secret
for.
finds its way out, it'll be the death of you.
What is it?
You don't know what this is?
Man, I love a winter Arctic snow
License to kill.
spy scene.
History of violence. I could be speaking to my own reflection. Only your skills die with your body. Mine will survive long after I'm gone.
That's really interesting what you just said there, because Blofeld's basically hinting at that somehow he'll survive James Bond. In context, seemingly even in death. Again, I don't know anything about the script of this movie. If I had to guess, and I would say Rami Malek might be a clone of sorts for Blofeld, for Christoph Waltz, who's clearly, by the way, under this mask, which doesn't help that we're not going to be there quite yet, but in like a second you see that he has, you can't see me pointing at the screen, but he has these veiny marks. Rami Malek has those as well, so this is clearly him. I hate when they have like, oh, who's under the mask, and it's very obvious who's under the mask. Like, don't bother revealing it in the trailer if you don't want us to know. It's really stupid. But by the seams of it, by the way he's saying this, I would assume he's somehow a clone or a genetic something. Maybe not a son, but it's very sciencey, and Blofeld, I can imagine, would do something like that, which is interesting. What else did we see in that brief amount of time? It's just kind of some action stuff.
I'm gone.
History isn't kind to men who play God.
James Bond's music's so good. Yeah, so like I said, I saw this trailer before. This kind of, in context of the beautiful title card, by the way, in context of Daniel Craig's Bond, they're really starting to push into that you only live twice sort of mentality here with how silly this might get. It'll obviously be more serious than that. That was quite a silly movie, but they're still pressing into that James Bond quirkiness that Spectre and Skyfall both had, that Casino Royale did not have, which is still my favorite one. It's cool though. I mean, I like that they're using the car. Again, as somebody like Casino Royale the most, I don't need this. But I don't know, maybe. You know what was really cool that I didn't mention in passing here? So she's kicking butt, so that's cool. But this stunt is so neat. This motorcycle, like, it might be CG. It probably is CG. But I thought that in Spectre 2, there was CG action where there was actual practical. So maybe I'm wrong. It's very clearly not a stairway. It is, you probably could get a stuntman to do it. Now the question is, did they? I hope they did, because that's cool. It is a little CG looking, so if it was practical, I really wish they shot it in a different way. But that's cool. And then you have this crazy, whatever this is. Well, this looks to be, again, mentioning Blofeld, this seems to be almost like his volcano lair, almost kind of thing. These are definitely people in like hazmat suits. These couldn't be uranium rods because they're huge. But I guess theoretically this could be some kind of thermal pool in some way, which means it would probably be charging a weapon. Probably, unless this is like some weird DNA pool, I don't know. But these are definitely men in hazmat suits in some kind of facility here with weird glowy rods. And then in the same light, you have this party. So I don't know if it's the same location. It might be. Probably not. And then we're back to the car. That's good. I love that little stinger at the end here. But yeah. They made another one. And it comes out in April. I don't know. I look forward to another trailer. I do think it's going to be better than Spectre, based off the trailer, because even the trailer for Spectre seemed a little lacking focus. This seems to have more focus, except for the fact that there's two villains, which is always a bad idea, in my opinion, in a Bond movie. Obviously, it worked in Casino Royale, but it didn't work in Spectre, really. I guess Spectre really only had one villain, but felt like more. So my guess here is it's going to be better than Spectre and better than Quantum, but not as good as Skyfall or Casino Royale. There definitely seem to be leaning into a more fleshed out relationship with a Bond girl, which they don't do often. Which could be good. Which, again, I'm assuming they're going to kill her. But maybe they'll go against our assumptions. They might not. I don't know.